this project, we are making a mini charcuterie board. So I picked this up at my local Dollar Tree. It's just a glass cutting board. It does have these little kind of pads at the bottom, so some of them are removable. These ones do not seem like they are, but if you are able to pick up the ones that are removable and stick them back on later, that would be ideal. This is the largest one they had, so I went with it. And then I hopped on over to Cricut Design Space and I started making my own little SVG. So I pulled a bunch of random images from Creative Fabrica. I picked up some stuff off of Google. I made my own little SVGs and fonts, and I created this little cut file that I just designed. I also made a template or guide in the background so that I knew the size of my cutting board, which is 7 by 7. And then I welded everything together. I want it all to be the same color, so we're going to do this. Now, I'm putting it on the back side, so that means I need to mirror my image. So when I go in to make it, I need to make sure I'm selecting mirror. So that's perfect, it's mirrored, and we are going to select continue. Now I'm ready to load my Cricut and get started. I am selecting vinyl for my base material, and we are good to go. I'm going to cut this out the same way I just did, and then I'll be back once it's done cutting. This one is going to be a fun one to weed, that's for sure. It looks like a mess, but we're gonna go for it. So I was able to take my weeding pick and pop off the little pads from the bottom, and then I can stick them back on later, which is awesome. It's going to make life a little bit easier. So I do think I'm going to need my weeding pick for this one as well. It looks like it's going to be a fun one. It's actually not too bad. This vinyl is pretty good to weed. It's pretty easy. And I'm already having some little thin pieces get stuck. So with weeding, it's really great when you can just kind of like snip it and remove this part, because if this part starts sticking back down onto another piece that you haven't weeded out yet, that's when the troubles come, and it's really hard to pull it off, kind of like here. So I kind of cut as I go for those bigger pieces that I need to get down. Perfect, we saved that little flower. And remember, we had to mirror our image for this one. I think that one is destroyed, that's okay, because we are putting it on the bottom side of our cutting board. Okay, it's actually weeding really nicely. I thought it would be a lot harder. Seriously, the Oracle 651 is amazing. I love using that vinyl. It is just, it weeds like butter. Honestly, it does. Now we have a little tiny flower that's given us some struggles, but we will play around with the design after. Okay, so the majority of it is weeded. We did lose a little piece of this flower. Let's see if I want to end up keeping it or just removing it. I think we're gonna take this one off, but I need one of the petals because I'm going to add it to this bottom one that lost a petal when I was weeding. And now we're gonna go in with our weeding pin pen. This is amazing. It's from TeckWrap, and it's so great. You just poke it and it comes right off. It's amazing. So I highly recommend you get one. You can also make one, like a dupe of this kind of, for under $5 at the Dollar Tree with just a mechanical pencil and a sewing needle, which is kind of cool. So we're going to do this. Weed it all out. I'm going to go ahead and finish weeding this, and then I'll be back when I'm done. It is all weeded out now, so I'm going to get a new piece of transfer tape. That should be good, perfect. So remember, you can reuse transfer tape, which is a great little money-saving tip for you Cricut crafters. I didn't know that for the first while, and I would just use it once and throw it away, and now I'm like, why? Why did I do that? Okay, so we're gonna stick it on there. So, there we go. Let's see, it's on there fairly well. Now this is a lot of little pieces to it, so we do want to go a little slower to make sure it's on there properly. So first I'm going to line it up. I want it to be pretty centered like that. This is so fun. I would love to personalize some of these. This was really cheap too. I think it was about $1.50, maybe even less. This would be fun to personalize with like the family's name and all of that. You could seal this as well. The reason I'm putting this on the back is so that it is still food safe on the top side. If I were to put this vinyl on the top of it, I would not suggest putting food on it. So thankfully I was able to get a glass one and put the vinyl on the bottom. If anything peels up, just push it back down like I've just done and keep going. Now remember, you're gonna have to go really slow, especially because this is a bit of a larger decal that I've created. So there are a lot of little pieces to it and you don't want to accidentally rip some of it off when you're pulling it. So slow and steady wins the race. And as I'm going, I'm just checking all parts of the decal, making sure I'm not ripping anything off. Sometimes when you pull it up, it actually rips the vinyl itself, like in half or something, and then that's kind of annoying. So just be really careful as you're pulling it up. Slow, and kind of go with the way that your decal goes. So with the shape of it perfect, that's done. So I'm gonna stick that down there for now. We have our decal, and then I'm going to go ahead and stick these little ones back on. You can also use some glue for it if you want. Mine still have a little sticky bit on it, but there we go. We're gonna flip it over, and wow, this looks absolutely beautiful. We have the finished little charcuterie board here. It is absolutely adorable. I cannot believe that I made this project for under $5. I'm going to be gifting this to my best friend for her birthday. She loves making these type of boards, and I think this will be great for like a little wine and cheese night for the girls. I'm also going to be gifting her something else that we're going to be making for Craftmas, so that's coming up next as well, which will be a really fun one. But I love how this turned out, and could you imagine personalizing this with maybe like the family name? Like if you were to go in and do like the Smiths and do some fun little designs. Wow, oh wow. Remember, this is on the back, which makes the top food safe. It is not dishwasher safe, so we need to hand wash this. You're not going to want to soak it, so make sure you're including care instructions. If you want to know how to make those little cards with care instructions, let me know and I'd be happy to show you how to do that. It's super easy to make, and honestly, you're going to want to do that if you're selling these as well. That way your customers aren't coming back to you like, ah, it all peeled up, and that's because they didn't do the proper care that they need to for these items. So super exciting, and I just cannot wait to gift this to her. How special! Ah, I can't believe I made this! I'm so excited! This is by far one of my favorite projects I've ever made.